My older brother Joseph meant the world to me. With my father out being the biggest deadbeat he can be, it was pretty much my mom and Joseph who raised me. Which is why when he left to join the military, it killed me. I missed him terribly, but I understood why he went. He wanted to start a better life for himself, and after all the years of helping mom take care of me, he deserved it. Which is why when Nintendo announced the NES Classic, I just had to get one for him for Christmas. I mean, he was the one that introduced me to video games. What better way to show my appreciation than to get him the re-release of the console he grew up playing? When I found out about the limited amount that were going to be released, it was a bit discouraging. But I was determined to get the NES Classic for my brother Joe. On release day, I woke up extra early, before the sun was even up, and I took the bus to the closest Walmart. By the time I got there, there was already a line formed. I had counted and there were 11 people ahead of me. With some luck, I still might be able to get one. After a short while, a Walmart employee came out with tickets and informed the line that the first 8 people would be getting the NES Classic. He apologized to the rest of us. Sad and I made my way back to the bus stop. I was less than halfway there when out of nowhere, a guy approached me and said, "You couldn't get an NES Classic, huh?" He looked about my age, in his teens, well dressed and clean cut. "No, I couldn't get one," I responded. "I wanted to give one to my brother as a gift." He nodded slowly and stared off to the side. "I'll tell you what," he said clearly and confidently. "I'll sell you mine for $10 more than what I paid for it." "Are you serious?" I said excitedly. "Yeah, I don't really need it," he responded. "I'll take it," I said as I thanked him and introduced myself. He told me to follow him and led me in the opposite direction of where the store was. I had just assumed that he and a member of his family had parked the car somewhere. He led me down a side street, off the main avenue, and as we walked, I started to think to myself, I really don't remember seeing him in the line that I was standing in waiting for the NES Classic. I just kind of dismissed this as maybe he sent his family member to wait in line while he waited in the car. We approached the beat-up looking Toyota. He walked up to the driver's side window and said something to the driver, and a very tall, very dirty looking older man came out of the car. In contrast to the teen who was very clean cut, this man looked worse for wear. Before I can gather my thoughts, the man approached me and demanded I empty the contents of my pockets into a black bag he was holding. Are you for real?" I asked, surprised, shocked, and afraid. "Does this look fucking real to you?" he shouted as he pulled a large blade from his side. I immediately threw everything in the bag. My wallet, my keys, the $100 I had for the NES Classic. Hell, even my school ID I threw in there. That's how afraid I was. "Now get out of here," the younger guy said while laughing. I was about to turn when the older guy said, "No." He's seen our faces. "Get in the car." I stood frozen in shock. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. The younger guy interrupted. "You said we would let him go." The two started arguing as to whether or not I was going to be able to leave. I didn't wait for them to finish. I ran as fast as I could in the other direction. I ran all the way back to the Walmart and told them to call the cops. The police found the guys a few miles down, and I had all of my stolen items returned to me. That day I learned, if something sounds too good to be true, it oftentimes is. When I was in 5th grade, Halo 3 was the game. Me and all of my friends from school played it. We even had our own clan. Most nights, we would all join a party chat and play team deathmatch for as late as we possibly could. Well, all of us except Tim. He didn't have a headset, so he had to communicate through Xbox Live text chat. Sure, it was annoying, but he was our friend, so we dealt with it. Plus, he was probably one of the best players in the clan. It was a Friday night, and my parents went out for the evening, so I was home alone and excited that I'd be able to stay up later than usual and keep playing. This wasn't uncommon that my parents left me home alone, because we were really close with the elderly couple next door, and they would routinely check up on me. It was about 11:15. The rest of the guys were forced to log off. It was just me and Tim left in the party. I was starting to get a little bored because Tim couldn't voice chat, so I told Tim I was going to call it a night. Shortly after I spoke, Tim messaged me. "What are you going to be up to?" Tim asked in the message. "Nothing. Just probably watch TV until my parents come home, which will be in about 2 hours," I responded. "Can I come over?" Tim asked. I knew Tim was often left home alone. His mom worked really long, late hours because she was going through a really bad divorce. And Tim's older brother, Casey, would often wander off with his friends, leaving Tim alone. I felt bad for the guy, and he only lived across the alley. I was sure my parents wouldn't mind, so I told him, sure, why not? I stood waiting by the back door. Tim would normally just cross the alley and come through the backyard in less than 5 minutes. But almost 20 minutes had passed, and Tim still wasn't there. I started to get a little worried, and was about to grab the phone and call Tim's house. But before I could, I heard a knock at the front door. Puzzled as to why Tim would come through the front, I opened the door. I foolishly didn't bother to look, or even ask who it was. When I opened the door, a tall, middle-aged man stood in front of me. I was seconds away from panicking, but then I recognized him. It was Tim's dad. "Hi, bud. Remember me?" he asked. I had only seen Tim's dad a handful of times, like when he would pick up or drop Tim off at gatherings or events. I think he even chaperoned the field trip when we were in 3rd grade. "Well, where's Tim?" I asked cautiously. "Oh, he's in the car. He'll be in soon." "Can I come in and get a drink of water?" Tim's dad responded. I felt a slight relief, but still, something was off. I told him, sure, I guess, and he made his way in, but not before grabbing a bag that was out of sight on the side of the doorway. "Your parents have a beautiful house," he said casually. "Thank you, sir," I uncomfortably responded. There was an awkward pause, as he just stared at me. "I'll go get you some water," I said as a way to excuse myself from the situation. I walked into the kitchen. Something wasn't right. Something was off. I didn't like this. I wanted him out. I wanted my parents to come home. As I was pouring water from the fridge, I leaned over to see what he was doing. I saw him grab 2 of our cordless phones and place them in his bag. Then I saw him pull something out of the bag that looked like a rope or a folded cloth. The fear that pierced my body is something I'd never felt before. I immediately opened the back door and ran as fast as I could to the neighbor's house. I ran so fast and so hard, my legs felt numb, as if I was floating. I banged and kicked on their door so hard, I set off their security alarm. By the time my parents and the police got there was no sign of Tim's dad. Turns out Tim's dad was a registered sex offender. That was the reason Tim's mom left him in the first place. He was using Tim's Xbox Live account as a way to communicate and try to lure kids. I never saw Tim's dad after that day. Come to think about it, I don't think Tim ever saw him again either.